set up the Android project, and we also set up our icons. In this part, we're going to create a slightly better version of our icons, and also we're going to create a splash screen. So to create the icons, we can look at Android Asset Studio, and when we go to the Android Asset Studio, we can go to the icon kitchen, and in order to get a icon, we can use our assets that are already in our folder. So let's take a look at what icons we have in our asset folder. Let's actually switch to the assets folder. So we have a unicorn SVG file, and if we go to the unicorn app icon folder, we have a unicorn.svg. So we're going to make an icon out of that. So if we go back here to our clip art, we can switch to image. We can drop the unicorn file from our icon folder onto the image, and we can say center crop. Here it shows us the preview of what it looks like. So if we say mask, it shows up as a white icon, and here we can do a square or a circle or a squircle. A squircle actually looks pretty nice. So let's then go ahead and download that. So once that's downloaded, we should have the file. Let's see what's the file. Icon kitchen dash output. So we can unzip that. And if we open it, we should see these icons here. So in the Android folder, it has a res folder with all these icons. So we can copy that entire folder set, go to our Android source folder and paste it on top of our res folder, and that would ask us to replace the ones that exist, and we can hit replace all. So if we go back and run our project now, it should use the new icon. So let's do a run. So there we could see the icon at the startup, and also if we go in here we can see the icon there. So let's go to the next step, and in this step we're going to look at the adding of the splash screen, and we're going to use the splash screen API. So this is the documentation for the splash screen in Android 12, but to have it be compatible we can use the compat library. So to add the compat library we add this to our app build.gradle. So let's go to our app build.gradle file and add we can add the splash screen compat library here and hit sync. So while that's syncing, we can look at the next steps. So here we have to create a theme file. So let's wait for the sync to complete. Yeah, the sync's completed now. So we can go ahead and create a theme file. Just waiting for it to catch up. Yep. So let's collapse these. And we can go ahead and create a theme file under values. So right now we have a theme file which looks like this. Yeah, so this is the theme file with our theme.unicorn app, where unicorn app is the name of our app. And we can create another theme file called splash screen or splash.xml, and we'll create it in this folder. So we'll say new values resource file splash and use that as our theme file. So we need the colors in the theme file and also the drawable. So in order to do that, we can go ahead and pick the colors from our app. So in order to pick the colors, we can just pick some random colors. So I'm going to use the color palette that I generated earlier, and here I'm going to paste the color palette. Here there's a primary, secondary, tertiary, and primary contrast and secondary contrast color. And in our splash screen we use the secondary contrast for our window splash screen background, and for our app theme we can use theme.unicorn app. So that's the app theme. And for our drawable we have to go to the drawable folder and create a new vector drawable. So we can say new vector asset and select local file. Find the unicorn SVG file in our unicorn app icon folder. That's our unicorn SVG file. We can select 50/50 as the size and hit next, and that gives us a unicorn XML drawable. So now that we have the unicorn XML drawable, we can add our placeholder content to the main activity. So in our main activity, we can just create a text box. So here we had a surface container, and inside the surface container is actually we can replace the surface container with our box. And then in order to get it to compile, we have to make these imports for Jetpack Compose. So let's import the Jetpack Compose functions, and the next step is to have a delay for our splash screen to display. So to have the delay work, we can just create a view model here, and we'll call it unicorn view model. And in order to display it, we display the unicorn view model. And make these imports work. So once these imports have been imported in, we should have the unicorn view model. So we can create an instance of unicorn view model in our main activity. So let's do that here. And import the view models function. So the next step is to implement the install splash screen function. So that goes right above set content. So before set content, we can say set, or we can say install splash screen, and this is going to have a lambda, and in the lambda we have a set keep on screen condition lambda. And inside that we can have the value that we get from the view model. So the value would be the is loading value that we declared in the view model. And that view model value in this case is set to 3 seconds. So it should display for 3 seconds. So the next step is to get the group for the unicorn drawable so that it resizes to the correct amount. So in our unicorn XML, we take the paths that are inside the vector and wrap them inside this group. So we have the paths wrapped in a group which has a half scale as compared to the scale of our drawable. So once that's done, we can run it, and we keep our device open here. So that was the splash screen, and in our background for the splash screen we should have seen the drawable, and if that didn't work, let's launch it again. So let's launch it from here. Oh yeah, we've missed one step. In our manifest, we also have to make sure that our manifest references the correct splash screen. So let's take a look here. So we have theme.app.launch, and in our manifest we have theme.unicorn.app. So let's change that to theme.app.launch, and theme.app.launch is what we declared in our splash theme. So this is the theme.app.launch, which we'll set in both the application as well as the theme for the activity. So let's run that again, and this time we see that we get the correct splash screen. So that's it for this part, and we'll see you in the next part. Thanks.